We've been building this for a long time, actually. And some people may not know this, but actually, we weren't originally going to launch it on Berachain. And I think towards the end of 2023, we kind of saw this kind of opportunity to be on Berachain. We were the first derivative protocol to be out there publicly when it comes to trading derivatives, anyway. And so, yeah, I think that was a great decision for us.
Hello, GM people. Today we're diving into Dr. Mughal's incredible journey from medicine to becoming a full-time DeFi expert and a jack of all trades at IVX. This is BlockHunters Voices, a very special live edition for everyone unable to attend DEFCON this year. I'm Akir Vuju, your host, joined by our regularly Berachain co-host Kas. Welcome, our good doctor. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much. It's funny when people call me like doctor outside of my medical work.
that was the point, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
tell me first, how do your friends call you? Wajahat, Waj, Mughal? Because I don't know, and it's better to.
Yeah, so you can call me Waj or Wajahat. That's my name. Like Mughal is just like my surname has like quite rich history. I'm sure many people listening have heard of like the Mughal Empire, which is a time where people kind of controlled a significant portion of the world with this massive empire. So I really like that, and I'm proud of my heritage. So I kind of like to use that from time to time. But yeah, I'm Dr. Mughal, Wajahat, all of the above.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Let's start from the beginning. Who was Waj and what was he doing before discovering crypto?
So I actually discovered crypto when I was in medical school. I think at the time I realized that actually, we have to, if you want to escape this rat race that people like to say, then you need to do something with your money. You got to do something scalable, and working a 9-to-5 job isn't scalable. At the end of the day, you're just going to be trading your time for money, and you can do really, really good at that. The best doctors in the world who do their private practice can really trade their hours for a lot of money, but it's still not scalable. And I think if you want to do something that's scalable, it has to be something where you can get massive distribution, or you do something like investing. And I think both of those things were interesting to me at the time. The idea of scaling through a business, but also the idea of using your money to invest, making money your employee, so it does things for you. It makes cash flow, but also grows over time. And so I started, at this time I was like 18, 19, 20 years old, kind of just learning about what I should be doing with my money. And I used to read all of those investment books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, how to get rich investing, and
I read that
all
as
of those
well.
ones.
Kind of
Yeah.
scamish, good principles, but
Yeah, but I think everyone at the start of their finance journey goes through some of these books, don't they? And yeah, from that point onwards, I just started exploring asset classes. Now, at the time, I'm a poor medical student, right? I have hardly anything to my name. Actually, I have negative balance to my name. I'm in debt, and so the question is all right, which asset class is going to give you the craziest returns? There's only one at the moment, and it's called crypto. That's pretty much how I stumbled upon it. And yeah, it was very exciting at that point in time. And then, yeah, before you know it, I stumbled across a particular sector of crypto, which was DeFi, because that was just kind of getting started at that point in time. I think we just were around the very beginnings of DeFi summer. And I got hooked on that completely. I was so hooked, and I think after that point I never left. And since then, yeah, things have gone a little bit more crazy. I love crypto, I love medicine as well, but yeah, that's pretty much the origin story of where it all came from.
Your transition from medicine to DeFi is really unique. But I want to ask you, have you found any unexpected parallels between medicine and DeFi? Because they're pretty different categories. They don't have anything in common. But you professing in both of them might find anything.
There's you know, when I've been like during this transition phase from medicine to crypto, it hasn't been easy, so essentially I graduated from medical school, worked as a doctor for a few years, and then kind of had this opportunity to go full-time crypto. So first of all, like that transition itself wasn't easy. It's hard, definitely very hard to explain to your family, like, by the way, guys, I've just been training like my whole life to do this thing called medicine and become a doctor. Right, I'm going to trade internet money now.
Magic
It's
money.
yeah, magic internet money, right? That's I'm saving lives in the magic internet money world. Yeah, like that was very, very difficult in itself. But I actually found the transition very easy, and that's because, as you mentioned, cause like there are lots of similarities, especially in kind of the roles that I have in crypto, which is very much on the non-tech side. I think like as a doctor, one of the most important skills that you need to have is critical thinking. It's like thinking on the spot or kind of using rationale to make decisions. And I think that's something that you have to do in crypto a lot. You have to have really good communication skills if you want to, work a BD job, or you want to work in marketing or any of those kind of non-tech roles, whether it's sales or kind of pitching to VCs, right? I think all of these skills like actually cross-transfer a lot. A lot of people say to me like, "Oh, you've just wasted it, right? You went to medical school, you trained so hard, you were doing something so good, and you've wasted it." And I don't think I have whatsoever. I think a lot of the skills that I developed and learned whilst I was at medical school cross transfer over into crypto really, really nicely.
But at some point in time, you also started doing content creation, especially in the DeFi. That's how you started, right?
Yeah, that's right. So actually, a bit of a background actually. So when I was in medical school, I actually used to make YouTube videos about how to get into medical school, how I got good grades in school, a day in the life of a medical student. I used to make vlogs and things like that. So I already had this idea of doing content, and this stems from that thing that I mentioned earlier, where I wanted to also have a business. I wanted to have a business, and I thought digital content is a great business to have, but also I wanted to invest at the same time. So there's two things that I was doing, and so when like DeFi summer came about, a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, what is this yield farming? What is this staking? What are all of these concepts?" And so I decided to just make them a video rather than explaining to each friend one by one. I made one video, put it on my channel, and then like it just started from there. So actually, I've been making videos for like four years, maybe even a little bit longer now. And it started off straight away from really strong fundamental stuff, because I thought that was like the important thing for my friends to learn, and it just carried on from there. I think DeFi is like the thing about crypto that interests me the most. Yeah, that's pretty much how that came about, really.
And what motivated you through the years to do this kind of content, and how this content evolved in those years?
Yeah, especially in the start, because I suppose it's hard to get a following when you start things.
You have to keep grinding,
Web 2. Yeah. I mean, both in Web 2, like the content you did in medical, but also in crypto Twitter overall.
I guess for me, one of the things in life that satisfies me the most is like education. It's something that I've always grown up with. It's something that we do as doctors all the time. As a doctor, you're prepared to constantly learn for the rest of your life. Medications change, treatments change. There's new scientific research that comes out that changes the way that you practice. And now we have things like AI that also change the way that you practice. You have to constantly evolve, and you have to constantly learn. You have to be keen on learning. And with that also comes the other side, where you also have to be keen on teaching to help the next generation. It's something that I do all the time. I have medical students with me in practice, and you kind of teach each other all the time. It's one of the best ways to learn, and because I've always had that mindset, I've really I for some reason really enjoyed that idea of teaching, and so I just kind of use that same principle for crypto. I love the idea of teaching. I love the idea of sharing stuff with people that I find interesting and valuable, like actionable information as well, and so it's just something that I've always just been satisfied by. I love the idea of like creating a presentation, standing in front of, let's say 100 people and like showing them some really, really interesting, innovative thing.
That's very
that you can
bold,
do with
man.
crypto. Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage, to do this kind of stuff. Especially for me, who I'm an introvert, that's why I'm...
But the thing is, right, over time as well, you just get so good at it, and it just becomes so natural as well that like you won't even think about it. And I think like usually like after you guys at BlockHunters do like your 100th or 200th episode, like it'll just feel so natural and it'll feel so normal that you won't even feel like anything like that whatsoever. It'll just feel like you're just doing your normal thing. And I think I can tell that you guys really, really enjoy it as well, just from watching your previous episodes. And so it's just going to be kind of like that as well. You're not going to even... This doesn't even feel like work to you, I'm sure.
No, of course not. I mean, it's just something, a bonus for us to learn as well.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it just stems from that. If it doesn't feel like work, it's very easy to do.
So TLDR, we're waiting for the 100th episode of BlockHunter Voices, and we're killing it. My next question would be like, how do you balance your multiple roles? I know we also had like a conversation a few weeks ago, or even a month, where I asked you how do you balance like your role at IVX on the marketing side, content creation for your personal brand, and also maybe angel investing in a few projects, maybe advising some of them. What's the secret to managing these different responsibilities in the day-to-day
The secret
operations?
sauce.
The secret sauce. Because I've always had multiple roles, like when I was I used to work full time in medicine, so I'd work my hospital shift, come home, and like also work crypto then at the same time. I'm just very, very used to like having multiple jobs or like multiple things going on. So I guess like that's like one thing that I just got used to. I guess after a while you just really optimize your time well. For example, like when I make YouTube videos or like when I make educational content, I batch produce. So I'll make like five, 6 pieces all in one go in one day. In that way, like I've got content for the next 2-3 weeks, if that makes sense. So like there's things like that you could do that really optimize your time well. And again, I think it's just really important to be organized. I've got a diary on my desk all the time that has like my to-do lists. I think things like that, journaling as well, they can all really help to have clear thought, but also have like a clear action plan of like what you need to get done in the week. Even at IVX, right, I have so many multiple roles. Sometimes it's sales, sometimes it's BD, sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's content, sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's strategy. There's a different thing every single day. But I think if you plan it accordingly, which is something that we really try hard at IVX to do as well, anything's possible.
For those new to DeFi and trading in general, can you explain what exactly is IVX and what options tradings are?
Yeah, absolutely. So derivatives are essentially contracts that you can trade. And there's 2 main types that I think most people will be familiar with or have heard about at one point in their life. There's perpetual trading and there's option trading. Both of them essentially offer you leverage on a variety of different assets. Now, there's pros and cons with each of them. Now, IVX is an options trading platform, so it's the second one. And it is a specific type of option. It's called a 0-day to expiry option. What that means is it's an option that expires within 24 hours. Now, options are really interesting because compared to perpetuals, there's 2 main things that they have benefit over. One of them is options don't have liquidations, and the other one is options don't have funding rates, which are 2 things that perps have. And so one thing that's really interesting is when you have an option that expires pretty soon, aka 24 hours or less, you have a significant amount of leverage. We're talking about not 10x, not 20x, we're talking about 100x, 200x, 500x, and you can't get liquidated. So with that in mind, IVX is the place that you can trade these high leverage instruments without getting liquidated. You can trade Bitcoin, you can trade ETH, you'll be able to trade Bera at 100x, 200x, 500x leverage.
You can go to 100x leverage in options? I didn't know that.
You can go even higher. At times it could go even closer to 1000x and you can't get liquidated.
And what's the catch? Somebody has to lose here,
The catch is there's 24 hours, right? You've got 24 hours. That's the maximum time till expiry. As you get closer and closer to expiry, the leverage increases. But there's no catch.
Yeah, exactly, because time passing, like 2 hours left, you have like fewer chances to hit that that number that you buy the option for. So let's walk through a typical trade on IVX. How does your approach make options trading more accessible compared to Deribit, who's like the leading platform on crypto for options, or other DeFi options protocols?
Yeah, so this is something that we've thought about a lot, and that's because both Bob and I, Bob, the founder of IVX as well, we've contributed at option protocols before, and we've been trading options for a while as well. We realized that actually options need to be simple, options need to be easy. And if you look at like the vast majority of option protocols today, they are complicated, that you have lots of information on your screen, and it's not easy for someone who just wants access to leverage to kind of trade. I think we've also seen that perps have been a massive success. Everyone knows perps. They're just easy, right? There's two buttons, a green one, a red one. You just move the slider however much leverage you want. It's pretty simple, right? So we've taken that same approach as well with IVX. We keep it simple. On the app, you can basically toggle a filter which opens up degen mode. There's a green button up, a red button down, and you just pick your strike price. We try to keep the app as simple as possible. We avoid unnecessary jargon. We don't put the option Greeks anywhere on the screen. You don't need to know any of this stuff if you want to trade with leverage. They can help you, of course, but the vast majority of people don't need any of this stuff. So we've taken a very different approach to that of other option protocols that have kind of tried to make it sophisticated, tried to make it TradFi-esque. We haven't done that whatsoever. We know that people want high leverage. They can offer some really insane returns. And I think, especially if you're trading like the news or trading low time frames, imagine, a week ago you traded the Trump news election. Like those few days when Bitcoin has been going up have been one of the best times ever to trade or to long 0-day to expiry options. Because like, as I mentioned, you get insane amounts of leverage. And when it comes to trading these events, you can make a lot. There's no liquidations as well. So yeah, I think that our approach has always been about making this like an easy to use, like clean, simple app that users can enjoy.
I've tried like using Derbit a few times, and like you said, like their UI and all the features that they show, it's like too much for anyone that doesn't comes from a background or studying options too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think like if like at the moment you guys have 24 hours options, right? If you plan in futures to have
a longer time frame,
a longer period, yeah, everything becomes like a bit complicated, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. People in crypto don't know what's going to happen today. They don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think the appetite for people to trade what's going to happen in a week's time or a month's time is just not there. Like everyone wants to trade now. I think you can see this clearly with like even the events of what happened today with some of these meme coin kind of crazy kind of trading periods that we've had today. People want to trade now. And I don't think the appetite for kind of crypto users is the same as that of like TradFi users.
Totally.
Getting back to the product, Berachain V1 testnet launch January this year. That's when I first discovered IVX, somewhere I think February or March, because I found the Ooga Booga codes. And until then, we had the V1 IVX, the V2, and now we're closer to mainnet. And I wanted to see what significant changes did you see in this time period? If I remember correctly from a conversation with you, the product is kind of ready for mainnet, right?
Yep, that's right. So we've been building this for a long time, actually. And some people may not know this, but actually we weren't originally going to launch it on Berachain. Berachain just kind of came out. I think all of us in the team kind of were appreciative of it back in 2023. And I think towards the end of 2023, we kind of saw this kind of opportunity to be on Berachain. We were the first derivative protocol to like be out there publicly when it comes to trading derivatives anyway. And so, yeah, I think that was a great decision for us. V1 came around. That was kind of our first iteration of the app. we've definitely made things so much better. And I think a lot of it comes from making it simple and easy for users to understand and kind of trade. I think part of that comes from us as a team just adopting the Berachain culture, and that's kind of come forth into the app itself. And I think for anyone who goes onto the front end and kind of plays around with it, you can probably get a good feel of kind of where that's all come from. So yeah, with the V1 and V2, again, we had lots of like small upgrades. I think big upgrades are coming now actually, and I think that's gonna make us go to the next level, especially when you see what we're cooking next.
IVX emphasized like capital efficiency in its design. Could you break down how features like cross-merging positions and yield-bearing collateral benefit traders?
Yeah, so this is like one of the cool things that we have as well. So when you go on IVX right now, what you'll find is that you've got a portfolio that you have to deposit assets into. In fact, if it's okay with you, I can actually share my screen and possibly show you like kind of what this actually means.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Yeah. It's a very good idea.
Yeah, so whilst I'm just loading it all up, yeah, I'll just say, so on IVX, right, we have some interesting features here when it comes to like capital efficiency. And one of them is the fact that we have something called a portfolio, right? So when you go onto the IVX app, you actually have to first deposit assets into your portfolio. So I'm just going to share my screen here and you should be able to see this. So you have a portfolio here and you can deposit assets into the portfolio. Now you can see in my portfolio here, I've got some USDC here, but actually you can deposit a variety of yield bearing assets as well, whether it's IBGT or whether it's a staked version of ETH or kind of a yield bearing LP asset. You could deposit all of that in. One of the collaborations that we've done recently is with Kodiak, and you can deposit even Kodiak LPs directly into your portfolio. Now you have to remember that these yield bearing assets that you deposit are actually earning yield, and so what you can do then is you can go and trade like with these assets in your portfolio. And one of the great things is, like, imagine if you've got an asset that's earning yield and you're trading against that. Technically, you're actually just trading with the yield itself. It means that, like, over a period of time, like, you can actually trade without essentially using any money whatsoever. And this is what I mean when I was referring to earlier by just keeping the application simple, right? You can see the option price chart, the token price chart. You have the assets that you want to trade on the top here, and you've got simple kind of up and down. You just pick the type of strike price that you want. You'll be able to see the leverage here. Look, this is 78x leverage. You enter the amount of USD, and it's simple as that, really. And again, you can do that for any of the asset types that we have here as well. So pretty straightforward in that regard. Capital efficiency is like a really, really important thing. We have an AMM model as well, where you have traders on one side and LPs on the other side. It's something somewhat similar to that of GMX and Jupiter. For those of you listening who are familiar with them, they have like this LP token like GLP or JLP. IVX will have the same thing as well, and hopefully next week you'll be able to see it and play around with it yourself. The LP token is essentially an index, and it's an index of a variety of assets. So it will contain Bitcoin, it'll contain ETH, it'll contain some stable coins, it'll contain Bera. And so when you buy like 1 unit of IVLP, you're essentially buying like an index of those 4 assets and whatever assets that we have in the AMM. Now, what's interesting about this is this liquidity token is also liquid and it's composable too. And so what that means is you can actually take this liquidity token, which again is just an index of those 4 assets, and you can kind of use it on any of the other apps within Berachain too. You want to borrow some Nect against it on Borrow, you can do that. If you want to do something on TimeSwap or Gummy or Dolomite or any of the other lending markets, you can do that. And the way that we incentivize IVLP is also very interesting. So remember that IVLP is an index of the assets, and so let's say if Bitcoin goes to $100,000, well, the index is going to be worth more. It's going to be earning BGT because of our connections with validators and kind of how we're planning to whitelist this pool.
Yeah, that's how I wanted to ask you. Do you have whitelisted pools right now on testnet?
So on testnet right now we don't, because IVLP is going to be live next week, hopefully. So that's some alpha for all of you. You can play around with that next week. Once it's live, then yeah, we'll try and get that whitelisted pretty soon. IVLP also earns the trading fees from the platform. It'll earn IVX emissions, and it'll also earn from the partner protocols that we have. Essentially, you've got an index that earns possibly from 5 different reward sources. And so it's a really, really interesting design. And I think a lot of people, when they see what the yields are going to be like, are going to enjoy it a lot.
Do you have like special implementation for IVX futures into the Berachain proof of liquidity? Like, is there any leverage you guys use proof of liquidity in your current framework?
So one of the ways that we'll use proof of liquidity is through IVLP, and so the people who kind of stake their liquidity with IVLP will be earning BGT once that's whitelisted. We are also in the process of planning for how traders on IVX can also earn can also earn BGT as well. So you can trade, you can long Bitcoin, short Bitcoin through buying calls or buying puts or whatever, selling strategies, whatever. You can be a trader or whatever kind of trader you want to be, and you will hopefully be able to earn BGT by doing that as well. So there's some interesting things that we're thinking about with receipt tokens there, but we'll have to see when that comes out. But that's in the works at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Building on Berachain comes with its own culture and community expectations, like we both know. How was this influencing IVX approach to product development and community engagement?
Well, I think this really stems from like why we decided to build on Berachain. Look, you're trading at IVX, you're trading instruments with high leverage. It's not like a boring TradFi product. It's the complete opposite. It's like being on a roller coaster. The price goes up. The price goes up 10% in real life with the underlying asset. On IVX, you're up 10x. It's a crazy experience. So it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be exhilarating, and I think Berachain like certainly is a fun environment to be. I think we kind of embrace that with Berachain a lot, and I think you see that with our community. We do a lot of fun things, whether it's in Discord with like some of the fun community building that we do through poker or karaoke or any of those kind of fun events, but also through like our things that we do. Like we have a weekly trading show. It's called the Weekly Vol. Like people can tune in. Our audience loves it. We have hundreds of people that kind of watch and listen to me and Mo talk about all things related to markets. So I think like we really go DJing with that at times, and I think
it's sort of educational as well, right?
Yeah, we do a lot of education.
Yeah, we tell people exactly what to expect, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have something called IVX Learn as well, which is like a educational resource. You can learn about options, you can learn about derivatives, learn about IVX, learn about Berachain. We do workshops as well. We did a proof of liquidity workshop a few weeks ago. Even tomorrow, actually, we're doing a derivative workshop, so everyone can tune into that if you want to learn. Nice. I think education's, as I mentioned, it probably comes from my background a little bit as well, but I think it's such an important thing to do. And yeah, we love doing that with all of our community.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach, especially that you guys have the niche of 0-day options, and people need to be educated around them to be profitable, or at least know what they're doing there. I want to touch a bit.
It's a kind of a sense of duty, right, to do that. You can't just give people the product and don't teach them about how the product works and how all these financial instruments work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in the end, if they are not confident in what they're doing, they will most likely not use it, right? So the education needs to be there. I want to touch a bit on the NFT collection. Any plans you will have an NFT collection maybe post mainnet?
I'd say we've definitely thought about it. I cannot confirm or deny.
I think your response gives us an insight.
We'll have to see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will speculate. We will speculate.
Yeah.
Someone who creates educational content both independently and for IVX, what's your approach to making complex DeFi concepts accessible with maintaining technical accuracy?
I think, again, this is something that I've just developed over a period of time, right? I think if I actually look at the educational content I was doing like 3 years ago, I'd look at it now and be like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, this is horrible. So I think it just comes with time. I think when it comes to like really complex systems, you have to make them digestible for people to understand, right? And I guess like kind of using real life examples is really helpful for this. So like when it comes to options, some people struggle to understand like what options are. I try to keep it simple, right? Options are like, buying car insurance for your car, right? You've got the car owner, and you want to buy insurance, and you've got the car insurance company who wants to sell insurance, right? An option is like between two parties, and you pay like a small amount, which is called the premium. You pay a car insurance premium that goes to the car insurance company. If nothing happens, like absolutely nothing happens, the car insurance company just makes the premium, right? But if something does happen, well, you get paid out, right? And you've paid that small premium, but you get the massive upside if something happens to your car. Options are the exact same thing as that. So I think if I use examples like this, real life examples, it can really help people to understand and appreciate like these more complex things. So that's like one of the things that I love to use all the time. Any sort of analogy that I can think of, I'll try and use it.
You're a true DeFi preacher, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
How do you envision IVX and the broader ecosystem evolving over the next 6 months? So for me, for example, I see IVX like the go-to community for traders for Berachain, especially with your programs of education and the market discussion and so on. But how do you see the ecosystem evolving?
I think this is something that I've tweeted about quite a lot. But I'm a big fan of everything that's happening on Berachain. I think Berachain caters to right curve, to mid curves, to left curves. It caters to everyone. You have like complex DeFi protocols. You have fun DeFi Ponzi's. You have consumer apps. You have deep in AI like memes, RWAs, you name it, it's there on Berachain.
Just a small FYI, you are the number 3 on the top of Kaito AI, the upper of Berachain.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna go. I'm probably gonna go down now after. That's like my top, isn't it? Yeah. So I think like Berachain's gonna be so good. I'm definitely going to be all over everything, like whether it's playing games or whether it's like trading, like I'm going to be all over it. What's great is that like there's just so many new protocols coming with like their own twist, their own innovation. Like tell me, is there another ecosystem like this? I don't think so. I don't even think ETH mainnet is like this. I think, don't get me wrong, Solana is a great ecosystem too, but I think Berachain is just like something that I have never seen in my life before when it comes to crypto.
Has a lot of more personality from my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very
absolutely.
distinct.
And I think
it
really
I think
resonates
it's
with people.
distinct because of the lore and how everything came together.
And we have a history from 2021. People are writing lore and doing from. We have 3 years of experience with no chain.
Yeah, exactly.
I see Berachain like the go-to chain for like OG in the space, the people that have been here for 1 cycle, 2 cycle, 3 cycles, like everyone is in here.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited to use as many different apps as possible. There's like at least 70, 80 apps that I'm like can't wait to use, and like I've never felt like that for any other chain before. I mean, you've got everything literally. So I'm sure you guys feel the same as well.
Yeah, totally. And imagine how many will come after mainnet.
Oh yeah,
it
absolutely.
will be crazy.
As you prepare for mainnet, what aspects of IVX are you most excited about that haven't been widely discussed?
This is a very good question. So like our main product at the moment is called DM, right? This is the option 0 day to expiry product. But I think in due time, like IVX really wants to be like the home of derivatives on Berachain. And so whilst I can't say much right now, I think we are planning a whole range of interesting new things for you guys to play around with. So the next 12 months are going to be really fun for that. There will be other things that IVX is cooking. We've actually cooked already, so I can't wait to bring that to you. But I think for anyone who just thinks that IVX is just DM and just this option 0 day to expiry option product, they're going to be very intrigued when they see what kind of comes next.
Based on your experience across content creation, community building, and protocol development, what advice would you give to other builders in the space right now?
To other builders, I can kind of break this down into like other builders and just like general people who kind of come to crypto. I'd say, one thing that I think all builders need to do is like build somewhat of a personal brand. I think it's like one of the most important things to do. I think once you've got a personal brand, like it really helps you to kind of whatever product you're working on to like build a better customer base for it, build a better service for it as well. And I think like it's 2024. I think now more than ever you need to have some sort of personal brand. I think one of the ways that you can do that is to just kind of share your opinions and share your building process. People love stories, right? So people love to see like the story of like how you just started off, from zero, some of the trials and tribulations that you had on your journey, and like following it along. I think like that's like one of the best laws that people love to see.
Yeah,
So I
and
think if you're
also you have to be very, very consistent, right? Because I think that's
yeah, you have to be consistent with it. I think if you're not consistent as a creator, like you're just not going to grow. So you have to be consistent with it, and I think like be open to share like the good times, the bad times. Be just be an honest person, and I think if you have interesting things to share, people will resonate with it, and I think you'll grow well. So I think as a builder, if you're looking to grow your brand, like that's something that I'd say. I think for anyone who's entering crypto, share what you're doing on chain, share like things that are interesting. You not only will get feedback, you not only will grow your brand, but also you will learn a lot more that way as well. So I think that's something that I'd say to anyone who's kind of entering the space.
Pepe just made ATH like 2 hours ago. BTC we have at ATH. How has the meme super cycle changed your perspective on the crypto space overall? Because the past 1.5 years, 2 years, everything has changed in that matter.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Really crazy. I think seeing the meme coins go even more absurd this week than ever before is just unreal. I think at the end of the day, like one thing that I always think about is like in crypto, we are trading attention all the time. It's usually like 90% attention, 10% fundamentals, maybe even less than that. And so I think this is something that crypto's always been and always will be for the time being, especially because crypto actually trades at such a ridiculous premium compared to like underlying revenue. So I don't think it's anything to be too surprised about. I remember last cycle meme coins went pretty crazy as well. This cycle they're going just as crazy, if not a little bit more crazy. I think now it's just like there's more attention kind of
Yeah,
flowing to
but
them.
they were very crazy at the bear market, right? I mean, Pepe
Yeah.
launched the bear market, right?
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I don't think it's changed anything, but yeah, I think like overall the space is still very much, it's all about attention. Attention's like the most important commodity that any protocol, any crypto asset, any team like can have. So yeah, I think that's what crypto is, the attention economy.
I
yeah,
think what's changed in this cycle, like comparing the meme coin thing, is that in the past, like a more serious VC-backed project were able to get that attention that you speak about. Right now, it's much harder for people to trust them, and that's why we've seen this craziness for meme coins itself.
yeah, and I want to make a parallel because as you've seen the most successful pre-launches, you can see that the founders have a very good skin in the game, like Smoke with Berachain, like Urushi at Movement, because they are in the trenches, and you can see all the attention is on them, and because the attention is on them is actually on the future chain, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people can resonate with them. That's the main secret in having like a founder-led marketing. You can resonate with what he says, how he thinks, why he thinks that, why he's doing that, and like basically builds a lot of credibility for his brand and his project.
Yeah, that's what I said before. It's like really important for builders to like share their story, share what they're doing, share their daily kind of ups and downs as well. And I think people relate to that. That's why Smokey's done such a great job.
Waj, we are approaching the last chapter of the series, and we want to wrap things up with some rapid fire questions to get a sense of where your head's at when it comes to crypto in general. But for this, just quick top of mind answers.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. In your opinion, what's the most underrated and overrated idea right now?
Oh man, overrated will be like these kind of general purpose L2s. I think like there's just too many of them now. So yeah, that's definitely a little bit overrated, and I think the VCs are paying for it now actually. Underrated. Oh, this is interesting. Underrated. What's underrated now? I think tough one. I think there's a lot of stuff that's underrated. I think some novel derivatives are definitely underrated. I think at the moment. I'm obviously biased because I'm talking about IVX there as well. I think underrated as well. There are some like interesting developments in AI. I think anything healthcare AI is definitely underrated too.
What are your three favorite crypto apps in terms of user experience and cool use cases that are live? Not speaking about Berachain.
My favorite apps to use right now are, say, Hyperliquid. Definitely, I trade there all the time. I love the app. It's one of my favorites. I also love Pendle. I think the concept of yield trading is incredible too, and again another app that I use all the time. I think even though it's kind of pretty old and has been around for a long time, I still love Uniswap today, and I think like the innovations that are coming with UniV4 are going to be very cool. So yeah, three really big apps, three apps that I use all the time as well, and kind of in three different sectors as well. But yeah, in terms of crypto apps, yeah, they're like three of my favorites. But there's so many. I use hundreds of apps like all the time, so I'm sure if I give it a bit more thought, I'll give you some better answers there.
You really are a DeFi DJ, man. It's the top
I
three
know.
apps. Favorite communities from the Berachain ecosystem? Do you have any big convictions, NFT bags?
I love Yeet. I love Yeet. Those guys are crazy. Yeet. Those guys are crazy. I love the Puffball community. I think Kodiak have also done an incredible job. I think Berachain communities are just insane. I think those are like three that kind of stand out to me at the moment. But there are like so many other sub communities as well that like really do well. So yeah, I also love HPOS, like Ticker Bitcoin. Like that community, Sprotos, like they are crazy as well.
Yeah, they're coming to Berachain.
Of course.
What's a crypto-related topic that you've completely changed your mind in the past year?
It probably wouldn't be the last year, but off the top of my head, I think it would be meme coins. Like when I first started crypto, I didn't really kind of love meme coins. I traded them because there's always money to be made, but I didn't love them. Now I definitely love them. The other one would be Bitcoin. When I first started crypto as well, there's a video that I made like 4 years ago saying like I don't own any Bitcoin and here's why. And basically I just said like Bitcoin's boring. There's nothing you can do with it. Like Ether's so much better. Completely changed my mind on that now. And yeah, I love and embrace Bitcoin a lot.
I mean, you can do a lot of things now on Bitcoin.
Yeah, you can.
You can stake it, right?
Yeah, you can do so much with Bitcoin now.
But initially, like when you made the video, it was indeed kind of boring, but it was just the store of value thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you can stake it. Now you can restake it. You can LP it. You can lend it. You can
have NFTs on it.
Yeah, you can play around with ordinals. You can play around with runes. You can even trade Bitcoin transaction fees now. There's like so many cool stuff with Bitcoin.
Because Bitcoin is the biggest meme, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The most successful meme of all times.
Exactly.
Before we wrap this up, one piece of advice you wish you'd received earlier?
I think if it comes to like building IVX, I think like having some sort of mentor is really nice to have. Someone who's been there before, someone who's built a protocol before, someone who like knows like kind of the steps that you need to kind of get product market fit and success. If you can find yourself one of those people or a couple of those people that you can always go to, reach out to, speak to, get advice, get feedback, I think that's one of the great things to have. So yeah, I think having more of these mentors, which thankfully over the last year I have, but let's say if I had one kind of at the start of my journey at IVX, then I think that would we would be more ahead than where we are right now. But I think either way, it's part of the journey. You live and you learn, and I think like that's part of the experience.
Great one, mate. Pas, any last thoughts?
Let's wrap this up with an Ooga Booga at 3, 2, 1.
Ooga
Ooga Booga!
Booga!